between now and Friday, after which a front will come through and bring down drier, cooler conditions for the weekend. Early morning low, a muggy 70-ish or upper 60s. Through the day, before or after those showers, could get as warm as low 80s. A round or two of more storms and showers coming in for the afternoon and Thursday night, as well as during the day Friday.
Direct from Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, Jordan World Circus is coming your way. It's 3 rings of non-stop, heart-stopping thrills. You'll soar to new heights as you watch top superstars of the circus world, exotic animal acts, and feats of daring and danger come together for the greatest spectacle on earth. It's an incredible entertainment value for the whole family.
One show only at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, Gonzales, Monday, April 18th, 7 p.m. Get tickets at thejordanworldcircus.com.
Ralph Sanjay, WGSO.
In 1814, we took a little trip.
Welcome to the Battle of New Orleans Radio with your hosts Nathan Lawrenson, Danny Hamilton, and Mike Emery on WGSO 990 AM and at WGSO.com. They're fighting for freedom and discussing local, national, and international issues that affect all of us here in this great city. Questions or comments for your host or their guest. The number to call is 504-556-9696. And now, here are your hosts of Battle of New Orleans Radio, Nathan Lawrenson, Danny Hamilton, and Mike Emery.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another action-packed episode of Battle of New Orleans Radio. I need to change that promo. Danny Hamilton and Mike Emery are no longer with us live every week, but we do have myself, Nathan Lawrenson, and we have Caleb Hitt on Skype reporting from Ohio, and we will also have our other co-host, Goyim, who will be in here at 7:30. Wow, you know it's really crazy and interesting. You know, these times that we live in, we have a front row seat in the fall of the republic. You know, they are stealing elections openly now, right in front of our face. You know, this isn't the first election that this has occurred, but this is the first election that they're openly stealing from, you know, front-runner candidates like Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, and they tell us they're doing this. You know, so go out and vote, ladies and gentlemen, because your vote matters. Your vote counts, doesn't it? You know, it's really, really preposterous. You know, we've been saying this for years, that, you know, these presidents are not elected but selected by globalist forces, and we openly see that now. You know, we have George Soros dumping, I think, between $500,000 and $600,000 into the Kasich fund there. I mean, so they're just openly, you know, pouring money to steal the election from Donald Trump, or, you know, on the Democrat side from Bernie Sanders. So it's just really amazing. This isn't, you know, a constitutional republic anymore. This is definitely turned into a dictatorship for sure. Well, it's really a system of fascism that we live under. I say a dictatorship because these puppet presidents, you know, we all know they're controlled and ruled by many, many masters. You know, so now, you know, we have these global power brokers that are, you know, trying to put their puppet in the place so they can easily be controlled. You know, and there's many people out there speculating now that if they can't take Trump out of the race by either, you know, putting in Cruz or Kasich or whoever, then they'll try to, you know, basically force Kasich as his running mate, you know, kind of like what they did with Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. So, oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups today, but anyway. So that's kind of, you know, what we're seeing. That's pretty much front and center, you know, on the news cycle everywhere. You know, there was a crazy story that came out about a week ago now. I think it was the L.A. Times or the Chicago Tribune. I can't remember which paper. Matter of fact, I think they both ran an op-ed on this, illustrating how in Syria, the CIA and Pentagon are actually fighting each other. They're actually, you know, arming certain factions that are now fighting each other. You know, and we actually illustrated that on this show about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. It was 6 weeks ago. We had Wayne Madsen on, and he was talking about this. He was talking about how we're going to see U.S. forces actually fighting U.S. mercenaries now over there in the Middle East, because we have certain countries that are using mercenaries as their fighting forces. And a lot of, ex-special forces, they go on to these mercenary-type positions working for these military-industrial complex, type corporations like Blackwater and so forth. So, it's pretty wild that, we're actually fighting ourselves, in the Middle East. But Caleb, how you doing tonight, Caleb?
Best as can be. I'm doing good. I'm a fighter.
You're doing good. Like you're a little under the weather over there, huh?
Yeah, I'll make it.
You'll make it, huh? So, did you see any of those articles? I don't know if I sent you any of them where it was talking about how the CIA is actually fighting the Pentagon in Syria.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what I've actually read, but I was aware of that actually happening.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and we've been talking that, ever since we started the show almost a year and a half ago, illustrating how the West has, funded and coddled ISIS all the way from the very beginning to use ISIS or Al-Qaeda, as their destabilization force in the Middle East. We've illustrated and documented this very, very heavily. We've had whistleblowers on like Scott Bennett, who actually went to prison, exposing the CIA bank accounts, that was funneling money from, the UBS to the Wahhabist terrorist cells, over 19,000 bank accounts. So, this is pretty heavily documented now at this point.
He ran it. Yeah, you're right. He met that bankster dude in the prison cell. That's what.
Yeah, Brian. I think it was Brad Birkenfeld. Brad Birkenfeld. Right. Yeah, he actually was. He met Brad Birkenfeld in prison in the United States, in federal prison, and that's when they started to uncovering a lot of this. And Brad Birkenfeld he was the Swiss banker who, was kind of part of hiding this money for the CIA. He got paid over $100 million to be quiet by the United States government.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, truly amazing. Another story that caught my attention this week, Caleb, was, this is another nail in the coffin for me, illustrating how Ted Cruz is nothing but a globalist in Tea Party clothing. He brought in Phil Gramm. He brought in Senator Phil Gramm into his campaign. Phil Gramm helped basically put in place, the whole destruction of our banking system in 2008, because in the 90s he helped pass, he helped bring into what's the bill? He helped get rid of Glass-Steagall. Excuse me, I'm struggling tonight. But he helped bring into place, the bill that killed Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall was put into place, I believe it was the 30s or the 40s, to help, regulate the banking industry and kind of, keep it on the up and up. And he helped get rid of Glass-Steagall that, put in play, everything that happened into 2008. So that's, another person that is part of Ted Cruz's campaign, on top of, the Bushes now, on top of, Chad Sweet's CIA. I mean, just on and on and on. So that's just another nail in the coffin. So people who still are believing Ted Cruz, because he wraps himself, in the Constitution, tells everybody how much of a Christian he is, so for everybody that's still buying that, you really need to take another look, the people that are really, really behind Ted Cruz. What's your take on that, Caleb?
Oh, I think it's all good. Here's the reason why. It turns out, Ted Cruz, turns out he's actually the front man for the Christian metal band Stryper.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear about that?
Yeah, I seen that picture. It looked just like Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, Caleb, we're coming into a break. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. We got some guests when we come back. Caleb's going to introduce. In the second hour, we have activist Arlene Barnum that's going to be coming on. So really excited to talk to these guests here after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to Battle of New Orleans Radio right here on WGSO 990 AM in the heart of the Crescent City.
Enjoy fresh fruit grown in your yard. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com delivers and installs fruit trees and fruiting vines to your home or condo. Proudly serving Kenner, Metairie, and New Orleans. Apples, apricots, blackberries, citrus, figs, grapes, peaches, pears, persimmons, plums, and raspberries. All the trees and fruiting vines are grown right here in South Louisiana. Check out the Fruit Tree Guide for more information and visit JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com today. It's a great time to plant. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com.
Does your house have a clogged up toilet, faulty electrical wires, or AC or heater just isn't blowing properly? Well, call Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. Also specializes in new construction and covers the whole New Orleans metro area. So please, call our friend Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. That's 985-781-0418. Renovations your way. They renovate to fit your needs with complete customer service from start to finish that goes way beyond the job. With over 20 years experience, and they are fully insured, and they support the Battle of New Orleans Radio to unite the metro area in the fight for liberty.
Visit us on the web at renovationsyourway.com or call me, Daniel, at 985-402-5916. That's 985-402-5916. renovationsyourway.com. Mention you heard about us on Battle of New Orleans Radio and receive a 10% discount.
For all your residential, commercial, construction, and contracting needs, call Eric with E.J. Milligan Construction. They are your complete one-stop construction company. From large commercial, residential projects, new builds, and additions, E.J. Milligan Construction has you covered from the dirt to the doors. So please, call Eric at 985-690-6468. That's 985-690-6468, or you can visit them on the web at ejmilliganconstruction.com. Whether you're in the real estate market to buy, sell, lease, or looking for someone just to manage your properties, look no further than Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties. She has 34 years experience and is an expert of all of the latest programs available to homeowners. She has been my trusted realtor for years now. So please call Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties at 504-858-9293. That's 504-858-9293. Ooh-wee. Hey, David, that smell good. What you eating on?
Man, I'm eating on some shrimp I got from J&N Big Easy Seafood.
Man, I had to get me some of that.
Yeah, bro, they specialize in the delivery, catering of 20 pounds or more boiled or live shrimp, crawfish, catfish, crabs, frog legs, and much more.
And how do I get in touch with J&N's Big Easy Seafood?
Just call them up. Call 985-640-8822. That's 985-640-8822.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio right here on 990 AM WGSO in the heart of the Crescent City. Really appreciate, you tuning in tonight. We should have a good show. Goyim will be joining us about 7:30, other co-host. Well, go ahead, Caleb. I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can introduce the guest that we have. So go ahead, Caleb.
Well, sure, yeah. So obviously we've been following a story that's been coming out of West Virginia. I actually first learned about this story myself, I don't know, maybe I'd say approximately a couple months ago or something like that. I forget. But anyway, there was my wife just happened to be watching the local news station, and there was a story on there about a man by the name of Thomas David House of Deegan, who is being accused by according to the news report, he was being accused by the state of West Virginia of attempting to overthrow the state government in Charleston, West Virginia. Now, obviously, since then, I've learned basically the plan for the listeners that don't know this yet. He was basically he had a series of educational conference calls leading up to this. This event was supposed to happen on September 24th. He had hundreds of people participating on these conference calls, and he issued a call to action amongst, he was calling upon some militias, even from surrounding states, to basically meet at the state capitol complex in Charleston, West Virginia on September 24th, and they were going to execute citizens' arrests, basically for all the politicians down there, including the governor. Now, I think everybody was going to be given the opportunity to resign, I believe, and then if not, then they would arrest them. They would basically keep the government running, eventually hold trials for treason, and then eventually set up elections. But basically in an effort to take the government back, so to speak, to we the people, because we are the highest level of government. And the government only functions according to our consent, according to the Declaration of Independence, of course. So that's when I began to look into this story myself, and then, of course, I stumbled across Hudok.info. It's Phil Hudok's website. I encourage everybody to go check that out. That's the most authoritative website on this whole entire matter, of course.
It's a great site. Yes,
it is. So I found his number, so I gave him a call and asked him to come on to the show, which, of course, we did. Now, so now we have on the phone with us, we have Dee Corley, Heather Swensson, and also Carl Gene Stalnaker, who we have not had on the show yet. He is one of, along with Phil and Thomas, they are filed the petition to the West Virginia State Supreme Court last year, basically exposing the fact that the state government is actually privately held corporations posing as government, and we're basically petitioning to restore the constitutional form back into the state, of course. And so, but at any rate, we also have Phil Hudok on the line as well. Now, Thomas did cancel that event that was supposed to happen once he realized that his audience on these conference calls had been infiltrated by federal agents. He had been baited to say certain things, blah, blah, blah.
So they basically ran a COINTELPRO operation on him, just like we see them do that at every level of civil rights activists.
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, they can pretty much infiltrate and hijack any and every grassroots movement they wish, it seems like now. But at any rate, I think what I'd like to do now is, obviously, Thomas's trial, of course, was a couple weeks ago. The jury did issue a guilty verdict. He was charged on the grounds of terroristic threats. It was basically a speech crime because of things that he said on a conference call. One of the federal agents asked him will the police be on our side, and if the police all pull up in their vehicles and we are completely surrounded and they get out of their vehicles, what should we do? And Thomas said, well, I suggest that you shoot them. He also said that we are at war. Well, that was a reference to the 1917 Trading with the Enemies Act, and then in comparison with the 1933 War Powers Act, where we, the people, have been declared enemies of the state by our own government. But in trying to keep this short, one thing I was not aware of on the last week's broadcast when I was talking about this, Phil Hudok was interviewed by Hoppy Kercheval. He's from the West Virginia Metro News. I did listen to it after the show. This is very important because this filled in a lot of holes for me because basically Thomas's plan seemed to be modeled after the Bundy Ranch standoff from a couple years ago in Nevada, when the Bundys, they had such a large showing of force amongst their supporters from the community, of course, where the government basically, they backed off and there was no shots fired, and everything turned out, it worked out in a peaceful manner. So it was never Thomas's desire or intent for anybody to get hurt by any means. So, but that being said, I'd like to go ahead and bring on Dee and Heather. By the way, they're the only two individuals who were actually inside the courtroom during the whole entire trial. I was there for about half the time. Carl was in there for a little bit until he got arrested. But at any rate, Dee, yeah, I'd like to go ahead and bring Dee. Thanks for coming on here. If you don't mind, go ahead and give us your take on what you saw in the courtroom, of course.
Well, there was a lot that I saw in the courtroom, and the main thing that I saw was that the people don't matter in our government. What matters to the people does not matter to our government. They basically do what they want, which is pretty much what Judge Reed was saying to Thomas. This was quite eye-opening to me. It's the first time I've actually sat in or been involved in a court case that was this arrogant, and the judge actually came out in the hearing and told Thomas, your supreme law of the land is not acknowledged or recognized in this courtroom. I mean, what more can you say? You might as well just close the book.
Exactly.
I mean, that kind of, this is Nathan Lawrence in here, that kind of goes along what I was saying at the beginning of the show, that, they're just gaming everything right in front of our face. I mean, you look at, that kind of goes into the election and what's going on. They're basically stealing the election from candidates who are winning, and they're telling us that your vote doesn't matter, and they just openly tell us now we have no rights and nothing matters. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, why would we have rights? Why would it matter when the American people don't stand up? Every other country, if you think about it, they will get out in the streets and say, we aren't going to take this. We tell each other, and then we sit back down and go back to our daily routines. And that's what they expect from us, and that's what we know they know we're going to do. And that's what Thomas was putting a call out to the people for. Stand up. Here's your opportunity. Let's gather in one place. Let's make West Virginia the starting point of taking back the government that belongs to the people. And this is what happened, because there probably was more plants on that call than there was anybody else. I don't know for a fact, but nobody showed up. He did call it off, but at the same time, when do we ever really show up? 2 people, 3 with Caleb actually showed up in that courtroom, 4 with Carl. Unfortunately, he didn't get to stay very long because no one was allowed to record.
Hold that thought. We're coming into a break. We'll touch upon that right when we get back after this commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio right here on WGSO. We'll be right back.
Renovations your way. They renovate to fit your needs with complete customer service from start to finish that goes way beyond the job. With over 20 years experience, and they are fully insured, and they support the Battle of New Orleans Radio to unite the metro area in the fight for liberty.
Visit us on the web at renovationsyourway.com or call me, Daniel, at 985-402-5916. That's 985-402-5916. renovationsyourway.com. Mention you heard about us on Battle of New Orleans Radio and receive a 10% discount.
Enjoy fresh fruit grown in your yard. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com delivers and installs fruit trees and fruiting vines to your home or condo. Proudly serving Kenner, Metairie, and New Orleans. Apples, apricots, blackberries, citrus, figs, grapes, peaches, pears, persimmons, plums, and raspberries. All the trees and fruiting vines are grown right here in South Louisiana. Check out the Fruit Tree Guide for more information and visit JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com today. It's a great time to plant. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com. As the corporate media dies, MetroNow.com and TheDailyResistance.com continue to give you a decentralized and independent take on the latest current events as well as historical reference to help you wade through the propaganda of the prostitute media. Our mission is to inform the people of New Orleans about the issues of freedom, health, world events, and much more so that we as a community can thrive in the 21st century. Only with an informed public will we truly be free and independent. So take a look at MetroNow.com or TheDailyResistance.com as your independent news source.
It's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. I'd like to introduce WGSO General Manager Richard Tate.
WGSO is locally owned and operated right here in New Orleans. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasize local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, we have some prime spots available.
Thanks, Richard. Folks, take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@WGSO.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Halen Doty. The Department of Corrections is investigating whether incarcerated rapper C. Murder recorded a new single while in Angola. Michelle Southern reports.
Corey Miller is serving life at Angola for killing a 16-year-old. Authorities say the video for a new single, Dear Supreme Court, appears to have been put together following Miller's conviction, not before. They say Miller claimed everything released by his label was created before he was incarcerated, but the investigation remains open as his daughter claimed in an online publication that Miller recorded the song while in jail. I'm Michelle Southern.
3 people from Louisiana serving time for drug-related offenses have had their prison sentence commuted by President Barack Obama. The trio is part of a group of 61 throughout the nation who will all mostly be released July 28th. The inmates from Louisiana are Kevin County of New Orleans, Roy Lee DeBose of Shreveport, and John E. Milton III of Baton Rouge. Louisiana Radio Network.
This is Trace Atkins for the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. If you're a farmer or rancher, Farm Bureau wants you to join and be a part of their family. I grew up in Louisiana farm country, and I know all the hard work and sacrifice that you put into raising livestock, growing a crop, raising a family, and running a farm. Farm Bureau puts that same hard work and sacrifice into making life better for you and your family, so join today. The Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
Once again, you stayed longer and spent more money gambling than you planned. You told yourself it would never happen again, but it has. Now you have to tell your family you lost money gambling.
If you or a family member has a gambling problem, treatment services are available for Louisiana residents at no cost. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call 1-877-770-STOP. That's 1-877-770-STOP. A message from the Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals Office of Behavioral Health.
This is Jeff Crouere with my commentary of the day. So the Jupiter, Florida police have charged Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski with battery for supposedly physically harming a reporter who claimed she was bruised. Yet now video of the event has surfaced showing the campaign manager barely brushing aside the reporter in an attempt to protect his candidate, who should have had Secret Service protection. In fact, the reporter actually touched Donald Trump. He didn't press charges. Neither should the reporter have. The whole thing is a miscarriage of justice done for politics. The reporter looking for her 15 seconds of fame. Trump is right to stand by his manager. The reporter initially said that she was almost, quote, knocked to the ground. A complete lie. The video shows her barely moving. The incident is a non-event. No crime was committed, except the crime of assassinating the character of Trump's campaign manager. More info on this and the other hot topics of the day, check out ringsidepolitics.com.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-95-STEEL. 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-95-STEEL.
Any Napa guy knows, and science proves, the best minivan is the one you've already got. Part kid transporter, part drywall mover. Who cares if the faux wood grain is a little faded? That was a platinum package option in 1987. With over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. Because it's not old, it's vintage. That's Napa know-how.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio. I'm Nathan Lawrenson, and our good buddy Goyim just stepped in the studio. Where you at, Goyim?
I'm back. Just got out of work. Been working all day for my shekels.
That's good. We got Caleb on Skype, and we got a full phone line of guests. Well, Caleb, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Go ahead and do your thing.
Sure. Well, I'm going to go ahead and oh, pardon me. Well, at any rate, I see. I'm going to go ahead and bring Heather on at this point, and have her go ahead and share some of her observations. How you doing, Heather?
Good. Well, I noticed many things. One thing that was prominent was the one bailiff that was sitting in the back of the courtroom. He's a sheriff, and he made sure to point out at one point, said something to the effect of, he wanted to know how we knew Thomas. And, we explained it to him, and he said, well, I hope you all know, we aren't, we don't hold any, grudge or anything towards him or something to that effect. And, he was like, he's doing a great job, so, they're clearly not fearful of Thomas, and, in fact, sort of seemed to support him, in a way. So that reminded me, I'm like, 3 times I think I heard the Constitution mentioned by Thomas during the trial. And if I'm right, it could be maybe 1 or more or 1 or less. But every time he brought up that word, the prosecutor objected. And I thought, okay, and once they even sent the jury out and then all went in the back to discuss. It was almost like you could almost feel what was happening in the back. Like if you mention the Constitution again, And I just thought, okay, so we have these sheriffs, we have these public servants who take an oath to support and defend us, is what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean, to the Constitution. Yet it does not play there at all. It is strictly statutory, as Jeffrey B. Reed said in his courtroom. So you have a bunch of people who, public servants who took an oath, right? And that oath isn't in effect. They're literally told that while we were at that trial. And where are they to stand up and say, oh, hold on a minute, I took an oath to support, and the Constitution was in that oath, both, the state and the U.S. Constitution. So where were they standing up going, this isn't right here?
Well, apparently that oath of office is now just a formality, just a lip service. Doesn't really mean anything to them, apparently.
Yeah. And so Thomas brought to light a lot of information, and the news station was there videotaping, but they taped the whole thing. But do you see an ounce of it on their website?
Maybe just a short video clip, maybe a couple minutes, if that.
Oh no, they scrubbed.
They removed that too.
They scrubbed everything about Thomas off of WTAP.
The media is controlled and owned. They are complicit in the fall of this republic for sure. They are definitely not our friends.
That's right, and he did a good job, putting a lot of great information out there so people can see what is happening. And the other thing was he brought to light this sovereign citizen stuff that's happening where, you could be just one of the people like he was, just one of the people, which is what I think we all are. And, but yet you're labeled as a terrorist, in a group that holds no meaning. Sovereign citizen has no meaning. And he did a great job bringing that information to light, too. I'm really proud of what he's done. So,
yeah, me too. Awesome deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Pardon me. Well, let's see. Due to I know we got to the end of the hour here. If you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and bring on. We'll try to bring Carl in toward the end of the hour, but I'd like to bring on Gene Stalnaker for right now. Hello, Gene. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm on here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Gene. Well, if you don't mind, I asked you to come on here to basically just kind of recap, just a brief summarization of some of the backstory to before this whole incident even occurred. You, Phil, and Thomas, of course, filed your all's petition through the State Supreme Court of Appeals. Can you kind of summarize what that was all about for us, please?
Well, we basically petitioned our legislature and gave them information on the War Powers Act, how that we were all declared enemies in 1933. Of course, you had the War Powers Act actually was 1917, but then they, with the Banking Act of 33, it was brought into play as far as making every American citizen the enemy, whereas the 1917 War Powers Act only specified certain people who were there from other countries temporarily and didn't have citizenship or status as Americans. But then that all changed in 33, and that allowed the banks to take everybody's gold and silver, which you have to remember back then you still had silver dollars and silver coins and gold dollars and gold coins instead of paper. So that allowed the bankers to take over take the money, and then when the citizens were declared enemies, then they also were granted the War Powers Act, so you were an enemy, and now when the president mentions war on poverty, war on this, war on that, well, we're at war. So their war powers come into effect. We're under war powers. We have been. So the president basically can and has done what he wants to. And so we brought these things up in our petition to the legislature, but we got no answers. I think one legislator answered, and he mainly was just asking questions, not really doing anything or helping any. But out of all the legislators that we petitioned, just the one answered, and the others ignored us. And we had previously been to the Attorney General with some of these same issues with incorporation of the churches in West Virginia, which the churches that are incorporated are violating the Constitution, because the West Virginia Constitution says that they will not incorporate, yet the Attorney General's office and everybody else in the state allows them to, and that way they can control them. So that keeps certain politicians out of the church. If you can't, as a church, you can't have one person who you favor come in and speak in your church or have part in your church service unless you have someone who completely is, opposed to what the church stands for. So it has silenced the churches in West Virginia. So that was part of the petitioning process, along with showing that we were the enemies of our own country. And so that led led to us to actually petition the Supreme Court with this information. And then when we did that, we got into things that showed that weren't really a part of what we originally started with. It started showing that everywhere we turned, everything was a corporation. So we now know, and we proved to the court, that the whole state's incorporated. We have no sovereign state, and it's just one big corporation. And from there, we found out that everybody else is one corporation. We the people are a corporation. They have you, and possibly they trade you on the stock market. But anyway, that's where it led to with the Supreme Court. And finally, of course, we used our rightful names in our petition as upper and lower case, not all capitals. And they dealt with us with that.
Yeah.
And they recognized us as sovereign because we didn't come to them as a corporation, as a corporate entity. So that's how they dealt with us. Of course, they ended up denying our everything, but they'd already defaulted on everything, and they just addressed one issue out of many issues in their final thing, and that was just releasing certain individuals from the lawsuit by using them as where they had all previously been named all capital letters. Then in their final decree there, they came as the rightful.
Hold that thought right there. We're coming into a break. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you listen to Battle of New Orleans Radio right here in the heart of the Crescent City at 990 AM WGSO. We'll be right back.
Ooh-wee. Hey, David, that smells good. What you eating on?
Man, I'm eating on some shrimp I got from J&N Big Easy Seafood.
Man, I had to get me some of that.
Yeah, bro, they specialize in the delivery, catering of 20 pounds or more boiled or live shrimp, crawfish, catfish, crabs, frog legs, and much more.
And how do I get in touch with J&N's Big Easy Seafood?
Just call them up. Call 985-640-8822. That's 985-640-8822.
For all your residential, commercial, construction, and contracting needs, call Eric with E.J. Milligan Construction. They are your complete one-stop construction company. From large commercial, residential projects, new builds, and additions, E.J. Milligan Construction has you covered from the dirt to the doors. So please, call Eric at 985-690-6468. That's 985-690-6468. Or you can visit them on the web at ejmilliganconstruction.com. Whether you're in the real estate market to buy, sell, lease, or looking for someone just to manage your properties, look no further than Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties. She has 34 years experience and is an expert of all of the latest programs available to homeowners. She has been my trusted realtor for years now. So please call Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties at 504-858-9293. That's 504-858-9293. Does your house have a clogged up toilet, faulty electrical wires, or AC or heater just isn't blowing properly? Well, call Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. Also specializes in new construction and covers the whole New Orleans metro area. So please, call our friend Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. That's 985-781-0418. Renovations Your Way. They renovate to fit your needs with complete customer service from start to finish that goes way beyond the job. With over 20 years experience, and they are fully insured, and they support the Battle of New Orleans Radio to unite the metro area in the fight for liberty.
Visit us on the web at renovationsyourway.com or call me, Daniel, at 985-402-5916. That's 985-402-5916. RenovationSyourWay.com. Mention you heard about us on Battle of New Orleans Radio and receive a 10% discount.
Enjoy fresh fruit grown in your yard. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com delivers and installs fruit trees and fruiting vines to your home or condo. Proudly serving Kenner, Metairie, and New Orleans. Apples, apricots, blackberries, citrus, figs, grapes, peaches, pears, persimmons, plums, and raspberries. All the trees and fruiting vines are grown right here in South Louisiana. Check out the Fruit Tree Guide for more information and visit JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com today. It's a great time to plant. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio. You know, this is a very important case they're talking about. So, look, anybody wants to get more information on this, please go to Hudok. Was it Hudok.info, Caleb?
Yeah, HUDOK.info.
That's right. Go check that out. Look, Caleb, I'm going to turn it over to you. It's all you, babe. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'd like to go ahead and bring Phil Hudok on. Hey, hi, Phil. How you doing?
Thank you, Caleb. Glad to be on.
Very good. Well, like maybe share some of your thoughts. Actually, if you don't mind, if you think it would be good, what are some of the what is Thomas looking at right now as far as moving forward? What steps do you think he's looking to take right now?
Well, Thomas is very upbeat. You know, he's taking the high road. At one point, he even released 9 state troopers from being sequestered because there was a funeral they wanted to go to, and so he could have used them as witnesses in his for his defense, but he actually released them. I believe I was the only witness he called in his defense. You know, he's proven with Gene and I that all state government has been overthrown. So when they say he was overthrowing state government, no, he was trying to return it to the rule of law. And everyone should think about this as far as protection of the people. You know, we all think about the Second Amendment, which was given for our protection from our government. And besides the Second Amendment, something else that we have for our protection is the rule of law. If you don't have the rule of law and you have a government that will go to no ends using the Hegelian dialectic, divide and conquer and order out of chaos, and use foreign troops and just about anything they can dream up from the dark side, you know, we have to fight for the rule of law. We have to defend what God gave us as blessings, but he gave us responsibilities with those blessings. And a lot of people talk about rights, and yeah, we call them rights, but if you think about it, a right is something, it isn't something you have to do, it's something you can do, whereas God gave us blessings, but he gave us responsibilities, things that we have to do to have those freedoms, okay? And so, you know, one of the things that is evident here in this case is that it's the people's duty, and they are the highest, they are the originators of the government, they are the highest level, they are the government. We just have representatives to represent us. And one of the most despicable institutions in this country is the media, known as the Fourth Estate, because they haven't done their job. Had they done their job, we wouldn't have got into this situation. It wouldn't have been hidden that for 80-some years, the West Virginia Constitution and every other state constitution and the federal Constitution has been suspended. Now, the Constitution wasn't perfect, and Thomas knew that, but he knew and laid out a plan to actually get back to something that people could use, at least for the time being, until they actually came up with something even better than what we were given, because our Constitution, and I didn't know this until I met Thomas and did more research, and I've been in the battle for over 20 years. but it's been a long, slow educational process, and that's.
Hey, Phil, let me interject here just real quick. If you don't mind summarizing about the next minute and a half, because I want to be able to sneak in Carl here as well. Sorry about that, but go ahead.
Sure. So, what's Thomas doing right now? Well, he's mainly interested in getting the truth out. And, we're trying to get all the transcripts, the court reporter audios. Gene and I are addressing a county commission. We're going to do a second address to them, giving them the truth. We went to the highest level of government in West Virginia, the state Supreme Court. We saw what happened. Now we're starting at the ground level, grassroots level with the county commission now and saying, you know what? There are felonies going on. And there's such a thing as misprision of felony, which is if you know there's a felony going on and you don't do something, then you are guilty of a felony yourself. So we are taking the responsibility, the knowledge of those responsibilities and the facts to the people who are trusted, who are given representation status for us, and we're telling them, you have to do something.
Right on, definitely. All right, cool deal. Well, thank you, Phil. Let's go ahead and bring Carl on in here. Go ahead and jump in here, Carl.
Well, I've heard several people speak to the issues, but let's cut to the chase. Whose fault is this? The fault is ours. It has always been ours because we created this, and it's up to us to control it. And what Thomas did is nothing short of heroic. There's no question about that. And other people are similarly trying to do heroic things, like my boy Fennekin, to mention one. What we have is a document that all of these people, all of these players that were involved in the trial of Thomas David, House of Deegan, all of them swore an oath to. Every last one of them. And every last one of them is in violation of that oath.
We got about 2 minutes.
We know it. And unless we decide collectively as a people to hold them accountable for that, then nothing is going to change. They're going to statutorily remove every right that they are supposed to protect. They're going to eliminate them, and they're doing that. Every one of them. And yes, it is our fault because we're not standing. That's what Thomas was asking. That's what I'm asking. That's what many people are asking. Stand. Get in the face of the perpetrators of this evil and do what you can to stop them. That's our only choice.
That's some great advice. I hope Thomas is like the first wave of the revolution. We need to come behind him with the second and the third wave for sure.
Awesome. He is the vanguard.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Also, want to thank you, Carl, for your providing your media as well. Your media coverage, the YLN TV, I think it's called.
Yeah, I'm really posting this stuff on the scannedretina.com. Everything that I'm doing is mainly going over there right now. There's little point to having the redundancy. We need to consolidate this stuff into a place where everybody can go and get all the information. That is one such place. So,
scannedretina.com?
Scannedretina.com. Please use that. It's a marvelous resource that all of you need to see. Everything that you didn't know is right there for you.
We'll definitely promote it for sure. All right, I really appreciate y'all for coming on. We'll have y'all back. We will not let this topic or issue die. Please go to hudok.info. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to Battle of New Orleans right here, 990 AM WGSO.
Hey folks, this is Jeff Cruair. Join me at 7 a.m. till 11 right here on WGSO 990 a.m. or Ringside Politics with a Punch. We're going to be bringing you great guests. We'll discuss the latest hot topics and, of course, taking your phone calls. On Thursday, Ringside All-Star Nick Verrecchio joins us, and researcher and author George Gilder will shed light on how the middle class is losing ground in our economy. All of that and more right here on Ringside from 7 to 11 on WGSO.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck for Dave 2037 so he can buy anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman. What are you getting Steve 2037?
Steve 2037 will be just fine.
Well, okay, but don't expect to borrow my anti-gravity boots.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Information on hot water heating.
No. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out the words.
World music, playing track now.
No.
Let me try. Our daughter gets confused about which details in a story are important.
Which paper towels are most absorbent?
What?
Here are 5 product reviews.
Why are you not getting me?
See, I told you.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
WGSO 990 AM, New Orleans, Louisiana. 60 years of speaking easy, New Orleans style.
Efficient enough to pull out military servicemen family members and diplomat family members to evacuate.
About 700 family members and other U.S. civilians assigned to an airbase in southern Turkey are affected by that evacuation order. A union representing Border Patrol agents throwing its support behind Republican Donald Trump. The National Border Patrol Council endorsing the frontrunner, saying he'll take on special interests and embrace the ideas of Border Patrol agents. The union crediting Trump for putting the immigration issue at the forefront of the race. This is USA Radio News.
Hello, I'm Aaron, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on why Americans should study the presidency.
People should study the American presidency because it's one of the 3 branches of government, and it's the part that acts. And so when the government gets ready to do something to us or to our allies or enemies in the world, it's the executive branch that does it. And there's some reason to fear it these days. It's an awesome power. But in addition, there's a series of constraints on it. One of them is there's an amount of time he's got, and then he's got to go back to the people. Another is he has to do things that are lawful, and he doesn't get to make the laws. And so a constitutional executive is a very powerful thing, operating under the constraints and for the purposes of the Constitution of the United States.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
Everybody that's seen this tape that I know, and you look at Twitter, people think it's a total disgrace.
Republican Donald Trump saying the situation involving his campaign manager and a female reporter is out of control. Trump talking to ABC's Good Morning America about the fact that somebody would file criminal charges over this type of incident.
I think it's a disgrace in a world where they're chopping off heads, where they're drowning people in cages.
Trump's campaign manager Corey Lewandowski denying reporter Michelle Fields' claims that he grabbed and bruised her arm at a campaign event in Florida a few weeks ago. Lewandowski charged yesterday with misdemeanor battery as a result of that incident.
He's a constitutional conservative. As a governor, that matters to me and other governors.
And that's Republican Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker talking about Trump's rival Ted Cruz. Walker having endorsed Cruz yesterday.
We want someone who understands the power, because of the Constitution, resides in the states and with the people, not with the bureaucracy in Washington. Ted Cruz has shown, not just said, but shown he's committed to that.
This is USA Radio News.
Have you been to ConservativeTribune.com? Now, this is one of the most visited news sites in the entire world, and the reason is simple. ConservativeTribune.com delivers edgy and bold commentary of the news. They're unapologetically pro-America, unabashedly conservative. At ConservativeTribune.com, they don't make apologies for who they are or what they say. And if you're looking for more than just boring stories and simple thought, you go to ConservativeTribune.com. That's ConservativeTribune.com.
Powerful.
It's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. I'd like to introduce WGSO General Manager Richard Tate.
WGSO is locally owned and operated right here in New Orleans. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasize local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, we have some prime spots available.
Thanks, Richard. Folks, take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@WGSO.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Overnight, tonight, and through the day tomorrow, it's got a chance of showers and thunderstorms on the increase, 40%, and increasing to 60 to 80% through the day Thursday. A couple of rounds will come and go between now and Friday, after which a front will come through and bring down drier, cooler conditions for the weekend. Early morning low, a muggy 70-ish or upper 60s through the day before after those showers. Could get as warm as low 80s. A round or two of more storms and showers coming in for the afternoon and Thursday night, as well as during the day Friday.
Direct from Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, Jordan World Circus is coming your way. It's 3 rings of non-stop, heart-stopping thrills. You'll soar to new heights as you watch top superstars of the circus world, exotic animal acts, and feats of daring and danger come together for the greatest spectacle on earth. It's an incredible entertainment value for the whole family.
One show only at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, Gonzales, Monday, April 18th, 7 p.m. Get tickets at thejordanworldcircus.com. Ralph Sanjay, WGSO.
It's the Battle of New Orleans! Radio, radio! Bringing truth to your eardrums! Here we go, here we go! It's the Battle of New Orleans! Radio, radio! Bringing truth to your eardrums! Here we go, here we go!
The last line of defense, bringing truth to the front. Now it's time to begin. As we ride to the end, don't try to pretend that you don't want to know all the lies we've been fed. This is why we're here to awaken the mind.
All right, we are back. Battle of New Orleans Radio, 990 AM, WGSO New Orleans. We have a really special guest on the air, on the line right now. Her name is Arlene Barnum. She is, I guess, we'll let her describe her. She's a very popular person on the social media. I'll leave it at that. But she's a Confederate preservationist. She's a big Trump supporter. She's just an activist, in my opinion, and I've followed her stories on social media, and again, she has a really big following. Arlene, are you on the line?
Oh yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I know you're calling all the way in Oklahoma. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, listen, you're on the air right now with myself, Goyim, and Nathan Lawrence, and our lead host on Battle of New Orleans Radio.
All right.
And look, listen, just wanted to touch base on your, I guess, how we would, state your situation. I know you've been following the Trump situation a lot. We have too on the show. I've been telling Nathan on the air and off that it seems like it's almost like a crucifixion, and it's, with Easter just passing by, and you hear the story of the street mob mentality where they're chanting for Jesus as opposed to Barabbas, who clearly was the rapist and the murderer and this and that. And I'm not saying Trump is Jesus, and I'm not saying that he's perfect 100%, but it seems like there is a targeted effort to demonize him, to create this civil unrest against him. I don't know if you saw this video from the Baltimore youth. I think it came out about two days ago. It's like a new rap video. They show this one kid with a shovel, another one with a gun. They said, if you got a Trump sticker, we're going to break your window. If you support Trump, we're going to go bang, bang in your head.
Well, they were talking about going to the trunk and getting the chopper.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Arlene, I know you can specify a lot. I know I follow a lot of your stories online of what's going on with Trump and, a lot of situations around the country. And I know the situation in New Orleans where they've been trying to persecute the monuments in New Orleans in regards to the Confederacy, whether it's Lee Circle or P.T. Beauregard, etc. So just give us a little bit on your background and also the things that kind of drive you to be such an activist.
Okay, well, I'm currently live in Oklahoma, but I was born in Texas, but I was raised in Louisiana, so that's where my family is.
All right.
From DeSoto Parish out there, where Keachai's at, Long Street.
Nathan might know where that's at.
I know where DeSoto Parish is for sure.
Yeah, but where Keachai, Long Street, Stonewall, that neck of the woods.
Okay, I know Stonewall.
Well, my family had, they were born into the Confederacy. They were, that's where most of them were at. They died there, buried there, born there. They were brought there, during the antebellum period, from all over the South. And so, this Confederacy thing is not a new thing for me. It was just something that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not come to my attention about the big deal about it until the situation happened there in South Carolina.
Yeah, with Dylan Roof.
And that's when I realized it was under threat. Now,
exactly.
I was born into a family where during the Civil Rights period, where the family joined the NAACP during the time of Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in it as legacy members, and I was pretty much active, but not on the membership end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was active in the NAACP as for the legal redress, where I traveled throughout the South to work cases and to take complaints.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw that the Black Lives Matter were vandalizing the Confederate monuments, and that's when I had to tear out my membership card, quit the NAACP, because I couldn't serve both.
Interesting.
Not when the NAACP was trying to take Confederacy down.
Yeah.
And when they said that, that we would much rather see the black Confederates bodies dug up from the grave and burned, have their bones burned along with the white Confederates. Mm-hmm. And that's when I had to make my decision. NAACP, I'm gonna have to cut you loose if that's the way you feel. But as far as the Donald Trump situation, I've got on Donald Trump's train. Despite some Confederate people are saying, Arlene, well, he said that it should be in the museum. I said, I don't believe that Donald Trump would. But what I'm looking at is that he's fighting against the people who want to take down the Confederate flag, like Black Lives Matter. You see how he puts them out of his rallies because they get disruptive? Well, that was enough for me because he's fighting against the people who want to take the Confederate flag down. And you notice Black Lives Matter, as you pointed out in that video about the kids in Baltimore that are making threats against him. Well, those are the very ones that are attacking people like me and Confederates.
Yeah. I mean, listen, listen, Arlene, not to cut you off. I know you as an African-American woman, you probably get a lot of heat for your stance in this and other stances in regards to Trump and the Confederacy and whatnot. Specify a little bit about that and what you've experienced maybe online. I've followed your social media story. I'm sure you've experienced death threats or threats from people. They try to call you this and that or say you're a turncoat or whatever. But, explain your experiences on that because I know our listeners are interested to hear that.
Well, when this Confederate thing got all heated up and everything, well, the Confederate group in Alabama and Birmingham had asked me to come out there to speak. They were having a rally to save the Linwood, the Confederate monument out there in Linwood Park.
Mm-hmm.
So I goes out there and I picked up another fellow. He was in the Confederate named Anthony Hervey. I don't know if you heard of him in Mississippi.
I have. I watched some videos with him. He's outstanding.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he passed away. But we go out there. We had a little problem with some of the black groups that came out there to get disruptive. in Alabama. We're on our way back. They ran us off the road, and my truck turned over, and then Mr. Hervey died.
Wow.
And they never did catch the people who did this. And so that was my first experience, with the adversaries, to let me know that this is getting real serious.
Exactly. Arlene, listen to this. Do you know what Saul Alinsky said? He said the ends justify the means. It's sick and twisted, but all these Black Lives Matter orchestrators, these the ones orchestrating this chaos, the civil unrest, and these strong-arm tactics, when you go to a Trump rally or whatever, or you go peacefully protest or gather or stand up for the Confederate monuments, this and that, they're going to do everything they can from a style of revolutionary tactics like Molotov cocktails, threats, driving people off the road, like you said. It's really sick.
Well, Mark, remember we went to the Trump rally, and remember when we walked outside, remember I got recruited into the Communist Party. Yeah,
Arlene, my co-host got recruited into the Communist Party, leaving the Trump rally. They were screaming, what was it? No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. And they were saying that right to our face. I was just trying to get to my car. We're not confrontational. I like seeing a spectacle. I've said this on the air before. I'd go to a Hillary or Bernie Sanders rally just to see the spectacle. And I know you're a big Trump fan, but I'm sure you've experienced a lot of hatred at Trump rallies, and I think I've seen you post a lot that you've been to some rallies.
Oh, yeah. Now, I've gone to Trump rallies. I tend to stay away from people like that, because when you go to, let's admit it, you go to a Trump rally, there are blacks there, but we still are in a minority as far as, blacks are concerned, so we kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, given what happened to me coming back from Alabama,
mm-hmm.
and when the vehicle rolled up there in Mississippi, coming so close to death, I tend to want to stay away from them so that I won't get assaulted.
Wow.
But, Trump.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Arlene. No, I was just going to say, Nathan had been following that story and didn't realize you were involved with that until right now. He didn't even realize that. My co-host is...
When the car got ran off the road, I didn't realize. I was telling Goyim, I said I didn't realize you were in the car when that happened.
Yeah, it was my truck, and Mr. Hervey was driving my truck because he knew exactly where he lived. So he didn't live. We weren't that far from where he lived in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the one that was behind the wheel driving, and when he noticed that we were being followed, and those guys, it was some black guys in a car. And they kept getting close to the vehicle, and Mr. Hervey, he was really trying to get away from them. He really was.
Was anybody prosecuted for that?
No, they never found the guys. Nobody was prosecuted against it. And every time I see his picture online, every once in a while in passing on Facebook, somebody will post his picture, and I just kind of freeze up when I see it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I got chills, Arlene, when you told me that, because I didn't realize you was involved with that. That's really amazing. It's a sad story. Look, we're coming on to a break. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio right here on 990 AM WGSO in the heart of the Crescent City. We'll be right back.
Hey.
Enjoy fresh fruit grown in your yard. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com delivers and installs fruit trees and fruiting vines to your home or condo. Proudly serving Kenner, Metairie, and New Orleans. Apples, apricots, blackberries, citrus, figs, grapes, peaches, pears, persimmons, plums, and raspberries. All the trees and fruiting vines are grown right here in South Louisiana. Check out the Fruit Tree Guide for more information and visit JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com today. It's a great time to plant. JohnnyAppleseedTrees.com. As the corporate media dies, MetroNail.com and TheDailyResistance.com continue to give you a decentralized and independent take on the latest current events as well as historical reference to help you wade through the propaganda of the prostitute media. Our mission is to inform the people of New Orleans about the issues of freedom, health, world events, and much more so that we as a community can thrive in the 21st century. Only with an informed public will we truly be free and independent. So take a look at MetroNow.com or TheDailyResistance.com as your independent news source.
For all your residential, commercial, construction, and contracting needs, call Eric with E.J. Milligan Construction. They are your complete one-stop construction company. From large commercial, residential projects, new builds, and additions, E.J. Milligan Construction has you covered from the dirt to the doors. So please, call Eric at 985-690-6468. That's 985-690-6468, or you can visit them on the web at ejmilliganconstruction.com. Whether you're in the real estate market to buy, sell, lease, or looking for someone just to manage your properties, look no further than Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties. She has 34 years experience and is an expert of all of the latest programs available to homeowners. She has been my trusted realtor for years now. So please call Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties at 504-858-9293. That's 504-858-9293. Does your house have a clogged up toilet, faulty electrical wires, or AC or heater just isn't blowing properly? Well, call Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. Also specializes in new construction and covers the whole New Orleans metro area. So please, call our friend Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. That's 985-781-0418.
Ooh-wee. Hey, David, that smell good. What you eating on?
Man, I'm eating on some shrimp I got from J&N Big Easy Seafood.
Man, I have to get me some of that.
Yeah, bro, they specialize in the delivery, catering of 20 pounds or more boiled or live shrimp, crawfish, catfish, crabs, frog legs, and much more.
And how do I get in touch with J&N's Big Easy Seafood?
Just call them up. Call 985-640-8822. That's 985-640-8822.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio. I'm Nathan Lawrence along with Goyim, and we have Miss Arlene Barnum on the line with us. You know, she was discussing Mr. Anthony Hervey, who, you know, she was in the car with, was ran off the road and killed last year. Leaving a rally. It's very, very disturbing. You know, people really need to go look that story up. I mean, I'm looking at a picture of your vehicle right here online, Miss Barnum, and I remember I followed that story pretty closely when it was unfolding. So I mean, really, like I was telling you before I went to break, when you was telling us that, man, it gave me the chills.
Yeah. And Arlene, listen, would you be okay with us taking a couple phone calls?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, well, we'll be talking with you, but we're opening the lines up. We got one person on the line, but we also are going to continue to take calls at 504-556-9696. But we got a caller named Patrick from New Orleans on line one.
Hey,
Go ahead, Patrick.
I just want to say bless you in Jesus' name, ma'am. You are a beautiful person. I appreciate the fact that you're a free-thinking person and you do what you want. I'll say I personally don't own a Confederate flag. I've never owned one. I have no need for one. But, you know, what people want to do, that's the American way. If you want to do that, and I'm definitely a Trump supporter, and I'm an evangelical Trump supporter. I study my Bible on a regular basis, and I'll be praying that the Lord continues to bless you in your efforts and what you do, lady.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, Patrick. You got any other comments?
No, I think that's about it.
We really appreciate you listening. Thank you for your listenership, and we hope you call back in next week. We got a great guest coming on next week. Yeah, Miss Barnum.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about, you know, he's bringing up Trump. I mean, what is your take on how they are openly trying to steal the election from Donald Trump right in our face? It really illustrates and shows how they are just putting in our face that we no longer have a republic. You know, we're living in this crazy world government where they just openly put in these dictators now. I mean, it's just really insane. What's your take on that?
I believe that regarding Donald Trump, I don't think that the establishment or the news media type hate Trump. I believe that they fear him.
They fear him.
I believe that they fear him because of the attraction that he has with the general population.
Mm-hmm.
He had Republican, Independent, and some Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that they can't control him. That's the reason why that they are going after him the way they are. And he can't be bought out. You know, the man is financing his own campaign.
Yes, truly.
And I believe that because of that they're trying to derail him, because the people that support Trump, they're not in it because of being a Republican. I've been a Republican all my adult life. I've been nothing but a Republican. But I'm voting for Trump and supporting him because it's Trump. I mean, I'm voting Trump, not voting Republican.
Right.
And so because of that, they can't shake me loose from, I don't care what they say about Trump. I don't care what they throw at him. I don't care if the man been married 50 times. I don't care. I'm sticking with Trump because if I don't, there's going to be this continuous blame Whitey. There's going to be this continuous takedown of neighborhoods. I believe Trump will stop that because Trump is not an affirmative action type of guy. Either you know what you're doing, or you
got the skills for the job. Yeah.
And then if you do your job, he keep you.
Well, Arlene, I'm sure you saw the town hall meeting last night where they were talking to Trump on CNN. I call it the Communist News Network, CNN. But basically, I think Anderson Cooper was like, as much as they say Trump doesn't state his platform or his agenda for America, they're asking him questions last night like, have you ever apologized in your life? Have you? I mean, I saw that. I turned it on very briefly, but they were doing this. They just had him almost like underneath like like one of these drama shows underneath a bulb getting, investigated. It was just really kind of sickening.
You brought up.
They were trying to put him on a witness stand, like they were prosecuting him.
Exactly.
Like he was, that he was a hostile witness. I mean, that's how. But Trump was not going to let that do that to him. He answered the best he could, but he tried to pivot to answer the way he wanted to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't politically correct with it, but that's how Trump is. That's what we like about him.
That's what got him this far.
But we saw through that.
I think that's what we need. We're sick and tired of political correctness, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go vote, but if I do go vote, I will go vote for Donald Trump. And regardless of some of the the little baseball issues, voting for Trump at this point is almost like a vote, of resistance, regardless of what happens at that point. I mean, he may come in and be a total police state president.
We don't know. It could be controlled opposition. We don't know. We know you support him 100%. We've talked a lot about this. We're not sure ourselves. We've been to the Trump rally, but again, we're not sure if he's controlled opposition or not. But my take on Trump is, I don't know. We're going to find out, but I don't see him making it past May. I told some hardcore Trump supporters I think they're going to crucify him and assassinate his whole persona before then.
Well, you know what I think they're going to do, and I've heard some other radio personalities say this, is, John Kasich is kind of sitting back in the cut, and he's really not being real malicious as Ted Cruz is. Mm-hmm. So I think they may try to slide him in as the VP because he just got a bunch of Soros money.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost 600,000.
Yeah.
That happened to Ronald Reagan with Mr. CIA George H.W. Bush.
Ted Cruz got his $12 million from Goldman Sachs. Some Middle Easterners from Goldman Sachs.
So I think they may
kind of Middle Easterner.
Yeah, they may try to slide in, an establishment guy, behind Trump. What do you think about that, Ms. Barnum?
Okay, I don't see. I mean, personally, I don't see a broker convention. I really don't see it, because right now, we barely finished with April, the May, the National Convention will be in July. I just don't see it because I believe that the establishment type, they realize you got down ticket ballots.
Mm-hmm.
These Trump supporters could get so vindictive if they think you're trying to steal it from them, they may purposely vote against the down ticket. You got every House member is up for re-election. All of them. All U.S. House members up for re-election. I think you may have about 12, don't quote me on that, but you got some that are running for re-election on the U.S. Senate. John McCain is one of them.
All right, Ms. Barnum, we're coming to a break. We'll be right back. You listen to Battle of New Orleans right here.
And listen, we got a couple lines open, so if you want, we got one line taken, but we got a couple lines open, 504-556-9696, if you want to speak with one Arlene Barnum.
Richie, we'll be right back. We'll get you a call, Richie. Hang on.
As the corporate media dies, MetroNow.com and TheDailyResistance.com continue to give you a decentralized and independent take on the latest current events as well as historical reference to help you wade through the propaganda of the prostitute media. Our mission is to inform the people of New Orleans about the issues of freedom, health, world events, and much more so that we as a community can thrive in the 21st century. Only with an informed public will we truly be free and independent. So take a look at MetroNow.com or TheDailyResistance.com as your independent news source.
I don't believe it. My savings are gone. They're gone.
You're kidding.
Nope, they're gone. They're gone.
Okay, all right. Think about it. Where did you have them last?
I remember I was home, then I took them, and then I spent them on that vacation to Aruba. Then I bought this miniature suit of armor I saw in the in-flight magazine.
And that's the last you saw of your savings?
Yes.
This is so weird.
I know, right?
Weird? Not really. Not saving now means no money later. You'd be surprised how quickly a little money from every paycheck can really add up. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
The armor is cool, though. Oops. I think I broke its gauntlet.
You broke my favorite part.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
This is the Louisiana Radio Network Legislative Report. I'm Halen Doty. A bill has been approved by the House Health and Welfare Committee that would require legislative approval to waive work requirements for food stamp benefits. Jeff Palermo has more.
Monroe Representative Jay Morris says people need to work or do some kind of community service in order to receive food stamps.
We're a hard-working state, and I think we need to continue to incentivize work.
Republicans criticize Governor John Bell Edwards for waiving the work requirements, but Edwards' attorney, Matthew Block, says they want to ensure there are enough job placement and job training services in place before mandating the work requirements.
The governor recognizes that's an important thing to address.
I'm Jeff Palermo.
A bill to prevent peeping Toms from using drones to spy on people received unanimous support from the House Criminal Justice Committee. Monroe Representative Marcus Hunter says his bill will somewhat duplicate existing laws by adding the use of an unmanned aircraft to video surveillance crimes. That bill now heads to the House floor for debate. Louisiana Radio Network.
Welcome, caller. You are on the air.
Hi, I'm stuck in this tiny office all day. I feel trapped. I need to be free.
You need AT&T GoPhone.
Huh?
When you switch to AT&T GoPhone, you get your second month free.
Nice. A free second month.
Yes. With a free second month, when you switch to AT&T GoPhone, no tiny office walls can confine your spirit.
You're so right. Thanks.
Now go. Be free.
I'm going.
AT&T, mobilizing your world. Get your second month free of unlimited talk, text, and data usage with the first 2 gigabytes at high speed when you switch to AT&T GoPhone. $40 a month after $5 auto refill discount. In-store or at att.com/switch to go.
Pay $45 for the first month. $5 discount applied to monthly rate plan charge upon enrollment and auto refill. After first 2 gigabytes, data speeds reduced up to 128 kilobytes per second. Second month free offer ends March 31st and requires porting eligible number and eligible service. Free month equals value with monthly plan activated. Visit a store or att.com/switch to go for details.
This is Jeff Cruier with my commentary of the day. So the Jupiter, Florida police have charged Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski with battery for supposedly physically harming a reporter who claimed she was bruised. Yet now video of the event has surfaced showing the campaign manager barely brushing aside the reporter in an attempt to protect his candidate, who should have had Secret Service protection. In fact, the reporter actually touched Donald Trump. He didn't press charges. Neither should the reporter have. The whole thing is a miscarriage of justice done for for politics. The reporter looking for her 15 seconds of fame. Trump is right to stand by his manager. The reporter initially said that she was almost, quote, knocked to the ground. A complete lie. The video shows her barely moving. The incident is a non-event. No crime was committed, except the crime of assassinating the character of Trump's campaign manager. More info on this and the other hot topics of the day, check out ringsidepolitics.com. Jigger's Bar and Grill at 1645 Vets near Bonneville has plenty of convenient parking and is a great place for lunch. Sandwiches, burgers, wraps, salads, quesadillas, all delicious. There's a big screen TV to watch the sporting events, and happy hour lasts from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Great dinner specials under $11, and if you have late night munchies, Jigger's is a place to go. You can dine in or order at 828-3555. See you soon at Jigger's.
What are you doing to stop traffic when your business is ready to wow the pants off customers? Visit Sir Speedy. We produce quality signs, posters, banners, and more that are just a trick for trade shows, promotions, events, and product launches. Whether you're taking it to the street, the floor, or the counter, bigger is always better. For more information or to get a quote, go to SirSpeedyNewOrleans.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio. I'm Nathan Lawrence, and along with Goyim, we have Miss Arlene Barnum on the line with us. I want to give a special shout-out, though, first to our big sponsor, our lead sponsor from New Jersey, Miss Jennifer Weldon. We surely appreciate all your support and spreading the word and the knowledge up there in New Jersey. So really appreciate that. Thank you. Miss Barnum, before we go any further, I want to take this quick call. We have Richie, our good buddy, on line 3. How you doing, brother?
Hey, all right, Nate, you guys, how you doing down there tonight?
Pretty good.
We doing good, Richie. How you doing, brother?
That's great, man. Miss Arlene Barnum, what was the name of the gentleman who was killed in that attack on you?
Oh, Anthony Hervey?
Yes, Anthony Hervey.
Anthony Hervey. That's absolutely terrible, and the irony of it is, you know, your civil rights were violated in several ways, and there's no Mississippi Burning, you know, movie. I mean, how many times have you seen in the media the scene of the black people traveling down the road, and then the lights come on with the pickup truck behind them, and running the blacks down and murder them, and that's essentially what happened to you, right, Miss Arlene?
I mean, yes, except that it was in the daytime.
Yeah, and there was the Justice Department. Nobody's interested in this. There's no Civil Rights Act, you know, and the media down there endlessly looping your face, and the murder of your friend is what happened.
Where's Reverend Al at? Where's Jesse Jackass? Where are they at?
Where's Loretta Lynch? I mean, this is your voting rights were violated. This sounds like a hate crime, and it's chirping in the media.
Well, but look what's going on in New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't think I've ever seen such a vitriolic banana republic ran city at the city council behind the Confederate monuments and all my days. I was really fearful of our lives even in New Orleans. I didn't realize it was that bad.
I know, and Arlene's saying that as being a resident of Oklahoma. She's well aware of all the situations in regarding to the post-Dylan Roof America, where they want to abolish all Confederate history.
Real quick, Goyim, you brought up Dylan Roof. I didn't mean to cut you off, but people need to understand, before the Dylan Roof shooting happened, they already had this narrative whipped up. You know, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, and also various entities.
Southern Poverty Law Center.
These global entities started pushing this narrative. I think it was called Resisting the Hate, that the Southern Poverty Law Center had put out before Dylan Roof, and it was to take down the monuments. And we see who's funding a lot of this, and it's his global interests. You know, this isn't some grassroots deal. And that's what people.
It's not organic at all.
No. The most of the black population in New Orleans never had an issue with these monuments, and if they did, it was very minuscule. And now all of a sudden, they don't even want to walk by them. Go ahead, Ms. Barnum. I didn't mean to jump in there.
Well, I think that's a bit disingenuous for them to do that, and I've kind of questioned if the black people in New Orleans who are doing all this horrible things, if they realize that you would be hard pressed to find a lot of people who are black in Louisiana who are not mixed
Exactly.
with white.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really get down to it.
Well, I was during Mardi Gras. They had a large black population right by the monuments, and it was very, again, like Nate was saying, it doesn't seem like they orchestrated this. You got the Southern Poverty Law Center pushing this. You got the Trilateral Commission, George Soros, who seems to have his fingerprints on everything. And it's just like you were saying though. During the break, Nathan was talking a little bit about the situation in the black community, which I guess has infiltrated into lots of communities. But so what was that about Lyndon Johnson you were saying? I know I'm kind of switching subjects, but
yeah, I'm gonna bring this up real quick, and I'll see if Richie has another question. Okay, it seems like the black community, and really all of us, but the black community since the 50s and 60s, they've been put on this reservation to where you're born and you have to think a certain way, you have to vote a certain way. I mean, you just go back and you look at the Lyndon Johnson quote. I'll have this blank N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. So I mean that's all the proof you really need. You go back to Margaret Sanger and the Rockefeller Foundation in the 20s and the money that they were pouring into the black community to really break the black community up, because before that, the black community was coming out of slavery. They had to have strong community ties,
good family values, growing their own product, growing their own.
They had less illegitimacy than the white.
Less illegitimacy than the white. Now you have a fatherless nation across the board. Nathan, Arlene, Richard. It's in every group, Latino, white, black. It's a fatherless nation, just like Bill Cosby said before he was crucified, in my opinion, because he was so pro-fatherhood, Arlene, just like we've talked about Trump getting crucified now. I guess that's a good word to describe it. It's a crucifixion is what it is.
Hey Richie, you still on the line?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Richie. You got a question for Ms. Barnum? I know
I just want to ask Ms. Arlene, do you see the future of the American demographic as black and white have separate interests, and it may be beneficial to each group to pursue that? Or do you foresee some sort of multicultural, multiracial future working in harmony, like a Coke commercial in the future for America? And I'll hang up and listen to the answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richie.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay.
In my opinion, with the way this population is going, I'm talking about the younger population of black. We're already multicultural because you see a lot of mixing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't foresee any type of harmony, not in the near future, not under this presidency.
Mm. The interesting about multiculturalism, Arlene.
Not up under Obama administration. I just don't see it because he's feeding the beast.
Mm.
He is.
I mean, the multiculturalism involves so many different groups, too. I mean, whether it be Latinos or the Muslim invasion of Europe and into North America, we talk about that subject a lot here. It affects jobs. It just affects lifestyle, quality of life in lots of ways. Some people don't see it that way, but, I mean, statistics are statistics, and it's been proven that it's disruptive. It's been very disruptive what's happened in Europe with the relocation of Muslims into Europe. And again...
Okay, well, now one thing, have you noticed the younger black people, have you seen how they're changing their names?
Mm-hmm.
The names you can't even recognize. Have you noticed that the Middle Eastern Muslims are trying to incorporate themselves along with the younger black community? The young black men, they go into prison, they come out with these Muslim names.
Right. Interesting.
They are integrating with each other. It's just like you mixing the two together, and it's a recipe for a disaster.
Well,
a lot of these black people are turning into Muslims. And I'm not talking about Louis Farrakhan type Muslim, black Muslim. I'm talking about having this jihad.
Yeah, militant.
This Islamic,
attitude.
And then I've never seen in all my days a black faces plastered on the news as being part of ISIS.
Right.
I said to myself, that never used to be when I was coming up.
Yeah. Arlene, I can see where they've rationalized. They're like, okay, well, Trump, he wants to build a wall, so he's against Latinos. I can see where they rationalize. That's not right, and I'm not agreeing with it. I can see how they twist those words into that. I can see how him saying things about the Muslim refugee population in Europe being a threat in North America if it happened here to that level. But what exactly has Trump said specifically? I see all these videos online. I see him on your social media. I see him everywhere. And young blacks are like, Trump's racist, Trump's racist. Well, what specifically has he said about the African American community that is a threat to them?
That's a talking point.
I just don't understand. Yeah, I don't know.
That's just a talking point.
Have you seen anything, Arlene? I mean,
no, I have not seen anything. And then when they come into his rallies and he said, get out, the news media pan the cameras to a black person that's getting disrupted, and they throw the black person out. You see? He's being racist. Well, hell, if you come into my property acting that way, I'll throw your butt out, too.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, Ms. Barnum, you brought up, the whole deal with, the black, some of the younger black generation, incorporating with some of the, the Muslims. Even Louis Farrakhan had said we should not take any more of these Muslim refugees until they are vetted. Even Minister Farrakhan has started to switch some of his hardcore stances that, I would say against other races. Now he's starting to come kind of like full circle and realize, wait a minute, maybe this will be a problem for this country.
Well, he's had a really anti-Zionistic approach to things. Not to cut you off, Arlene. Besides all the other different groups, and I think he sees this as a clearing out of the Middle East on behalf of Israel. I mean, it's the only explanation. They are clearing out the Middle East on behalf of Israel. The Zionists that you hear so often about, Arlene, that are rabble-rousing and MoveOn.org and like George Soros. And you got to give credit to Trump. He was getting into it with Jon Stewart from The Daily Show, and he called him out by his Jewish last name, Leibowitz. And, and then I think, of course, Stewart called him something Von F-Face or something like that. And they had a Twitter war. And, of course, the media was like, oh, you're so amazing, Jon Stewart, which is not his real last name. But I got to give Trump credit for calling out these name changers. And you were talking about name changing with the blacks and the Muslims, the youth. But it's just crazy. But I think Farrakhan sees it like I see it. And I do agree that there's an orchestrated move to relocate these Muslims. If we didn't drone them to death, if we didn't kill them all in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, then what's the next solution? Relocate them once and for all. And watch us all kill each other over here and divide and conquer us, step by step, group by group.
Yeah, see, Louis Farrakhan, he's not like your typical, CARE, one of those type of Muslims. He's not that. He's what you call a black separatist, black nationalism. You won't, you will not find the Louis Farrakhan type of Nation of Islam type of blacks mixing in with the blacks who are part of the CARE group, the CAIR, with the Middle Eastern type. So he has a different mindset. But these blacks, they are incorporating themselves with the Palestinian types, with the Middle Eastern type. And they don't know what they're doing, because if you don't have a foundation of who your own family is, you don't even know who your own daddy is.
Exactly.
That's how bad the black community has gotten. They don't have a foundation. They don't know their history. They don't know where they come from. They always talk about back to Africa. Well, what part of the African tribes do they belong to? They don't even know. Like I say, they don't even know who their own daddy is.
Africa's a pretty big continent.
Yeah.
Good
point.
Yeah, that's a great point. Africa's a pretty large continent.
Yeah, and so they are just a lost. They just lost. They just lost, and they just out there just willy-nilly. Any group can come into the black community and incorporate themselves with it, and they would believe it. They're just that lost.
No doubt. That's a great point. Look, we're going to take this next call. We have Phil, the Patriot, on the cell phone. Phil, one of our favorite callers. How you doing, brother? You're on the phone with Miss Arlene Barnum.
It's a pleasure and a blessing to be on the air with you, Miss Arlene, and it's a great blessing to do this show. This is the best show that I can think of, even better than Jeff Crouere.
And make sure you tell that to hey Phil, tell that to Jeff and to John Oshlin before he quits his show tomorrow, that Arlene Barnum is the greatest guest we've ever had, and that we're the greatest show you've ever heard.
I sure will.
We're listening to you, Phil. Thank you.
I will. Listen, I want to tell y'all something. You know, I've been protesting at this abortion clinic at 2701 General Pershing in Magnolia for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, the depopulation house.
Yeah, it's a Planned Parenthood facility, and I do mean a Planned Parenthood facility. And I can tell you, I've seen a couple of hundred black women walk in there, but only about a dozen or so white women go in there. This place is being used to execute mostly black people, and I've never seen Muslims or Mexicans go in there because that's not part of the narrative. That's not part of the plan. They're gonna, let us exterminate ourselves and fight amongst ourselves, while they just keep breeding and breeding and breeding. And I can tell you, each and every woman that ever has an abortion, not 70%, not 80%, not 90%, but 100% of them will suffer post-traumatic abortion stress syndrome. And I can tell you right now that the most evil form of murder is abortion. And I want to tell you, there's a low-level group of terrorists that listen to this radio show every night. I call them the Luciferian Brotherhood. That's John and Canavan James. That's David Bellinger, the Blaming Fibro.
I know that guy.
Zero. That's the Reverend Brown. And all these others like LB calling in from Dallas. Some of these people don't even live in this city, and they're working for George Soros. They're being directed by George Soros. They're getting paychecks from George Soros and MoveOn.org. It's the same people that are funding the Black Lives Matter movement. And I can tell you right now, I take that as that's a racist statement because to me, all life matters. When you say Black life matters, it is a way to try to divide the races even more. And I can tell you what, they've been trumping up all kinds of charges against me and the Battle of New Orleans and saying all kinds of stuff that we're propagandists, that we're terrorists, when the real truth is that they are here to try to divide our nation as much as humanly possible. Not only do they want to destroy all the monuments in our history, they're promoting a culture of death by promoting abortion. These people are pro-homosexual, pro-lesbian, they're pro-death, and they're pro-abortion. All I can say about them is that they truly are servants of Satan. Wake up!
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks for calling up.
No, wait a minute, sir. Now, he mentioned Reverend Brown. Reverend Brown where? That name sounds familiar to me.
You probably know him.
You probably know him.
He's an activist here in the New Orleans area.
He's an activist.
But he's
okay.
National Action Now.
Well, I had to block him. Because that name does, because he was out there in New Orleans at the city council.
Yep.
And that guy, he was the one that burned the Confederate flag that was in your newspapers.
I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
I think so.
He's friends with Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah, well, he's bad news.
What he does is he calls in and he kind of plays I'm no problem. Don't worry about me. Kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing thing, Arlene. That's what he does on these calls, in my opinion. But yeah, Arlene, sounds like you have some experience with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to a break. We got Miss Arlene Barnum online. Go check out our Facebook page. We'll be right back.
One more segment, Arlene. Hang in there.
As the corporate media dies, MetroNow.com and TheDailyResistance.com continue to give you a decentralized and independent take on the latest current events as well as historical reference to help you wade through the propaganda of the prostitute media. Our mission is to inform the people of New Orleans about the issues of freedom, health, world events, and much more so that we as a community can thrive in the 21st century. Only with an informed public will we truly be free and independent. So take a look at MetroNow.com or TheDailyResistance.com as your independent news source.
Renovations your way. They renovate to fit your needs with complete customer service from start to finish that goes way beyond the job. With over 20 years experience, and they are fully insured, and they support the Battle of New Orleans Radio to unite the metro area in the fight for liberty.
Visit us on the web at renovationsyourway.com or call me, Daniel, at 985-402-5916. That's 985-402-5916. RenovationsYourWay.com. Mention you heard about us on Battle of New Orleans Radio and receive a 10% discount.
Does your house have a clogged up toilet, faulty electrical wires, or AC or heater just isn't blowing properly? Well, call Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. Also specializes in new construction and covers the whole New Orleans metro area. So please, call our friend Herman with Superior AC, Electrical, and Plumbing at 985-781-0418. That's 985-781-0418. For all your residential, commercial, construction, and contracting needs, call Eric with E.J. Milligan Construction. They are your complete one-stop construction company. From large commercial, residential projects, new builds, and additions, E.J. Milligan Construction has you covered from the dirt to the doors. So please, call Eric at 985-690-6468. That's 985-690-6468. Or you can visit them on the web at ejmilliganconstruction.com. Whether you're in the real estate market to buy, sell, lease, or looking for someone just to manage your properties, look no further than Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties. She has 34 years experience and is an expert of all of the latest programs available to homeowners. She has been my trusted realtor for years now. So please call Paula Bourne with Plantation Properties at 504-858-9293. That's 504-858-9293. Ooh-wee. Hey, David, that smell good. What you eating on?
Man, I'm eating on some shrimp I got from J&N Big Easy Seafood.
Man, I had to get me some of that.
Yeah, bro, they specialize in the delivery, catering of 20 pounds or more boiled or live shrimp, crawfish, catfish, crabs, frog legs, and much more.
And how do I get in touch with J&N's Big Easy Seafood?
Just call them up. Call 985-640-8822. That's 985-640-8822.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle of New Orleans Radio. I'm Nathan Lawrence along with Goyim. We had the lovely Miss Arlene Barnum on the line with us. Please go check out her Facebook page and read some of her posts. I've been following her for a little bit now. Very informative. And you probably can't put this woman in a box. Unlike, much of the country, we're all stuck into a box. That last caller, Miss Barnum, we got about 3 minutes left. He brought up, some points about these abortionists and these abortion clinics and Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood stemmed from Margaret Sanger's birth control league, and she was a eugenicist, and she wanted to kill the black population. She openly talks about this, and, they changed the name from, the birth control league to Planned Parenthood, funded by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. And 17 million black people have been murdered before they were even born. I mean, this is genocide to the black population, and nobody even gets that,
Well, they killed themselves even outside the womb.
True.
Right.
Very true.
No, absolutely.
Even outside the womb. I mean, I don't even live in a black community because my life would be short-lived if I lived in a predominantly black neighborhood out there in the hood. I wouldn't live very long. Your life expectancy is very short. Even outside the womb. I mean, it's just like a suicidal race. I mean, they're just suicidal within itself.
Interesting.
But if you mention that, if you mention a black-on-black crime, they get offended.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
And they know it.
Yeah, Arlene. So listen, before we got a couple more minutes, is there anything else you wanted to specify, anything that comes to mind that you want to get out to your listeners, whether they're listening nationwide right now or locally in the New Orleans area, or any other plugs you want to give to more information about you or anybody specifically that in regards to your activism?
Yeah, I mean, and I say this, with all, with good intentions, is that the ones who are out there trying to protect the Southern heritage, because that's mostly what I'm about, they need to stop ratting out each other and stop seeking approval of the Black Lives Matter or NAACP or the people on the left. Don't seek their approval. And so oftentimes I get a lot of white people private message me ratting out each other with, he's white, but he's a racist. We need to cut him loose. I say, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Because when you do that, you're hurting yourself. It's not going to make the people on the left love you more. They're going to hate you even if you don't fly the Confederate flag, even if you don't support Donald Trump. They're going to come after you. They want to annihilate you. And I see it every day. So white people, I say this, they need to stop doing that. Like kicking David Duke under the bus is going to make the Black Lives Matter love you more. No, it's not.
Yeah, no doubt, Arlene. Look, we really appreciate your activism and standing up for our Confederate heritage. If you're ever in the New Orleans area, look, we'd love to buy you lunch.
And we want to get you on the show again. If you don't have a radio show yet, you need one because we have zero experience and you're great on the radio, and we're really glad to have you on the show, and we hope to have you on the show again, Arlene.
All right, well, thank you.
I really appreciate it. Y'all go check her out, Arlene Barnum. You listen to Battle of New Orleans Radio right here on 990 AM WGSO. Please go check out the YouTube page, Battle NOLA Radio. Caleb Hitt will have that up soon. Please support us. We're looking for sponsors. If you want to sponsor or even want to get behind the mic, give me a call, 985-640-8822.
We got an open spot for a co-host. You want to come in off the street like me and Nathan did, chip in a little bit out of pocket, leave work, come and help out, fight, resist tyranny. Come on, let us know. Call us up. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on the Daily Resistance, and you can join on up.
Our daily life is filled with many decisions. Some have effects on our lives for years to come. That decision-making process is often full of opinions, stress,